Greetings to you and welcome you for the session. We'll continue to learn about the foundations of logical reasoning and emotional intelligence. This is the second part of logical reasoning and emotional intelligence. If you have missed the first part, please go through it for the learnings that are under it. We'll continue with part 2. Now we will look at the seventh classification under logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, that is logical sequence of words. Sometimes the words could be related with one another and the words could be aligned in a particular sequence based on some logic. So using the logical sequencing of words, we could align the words in a particular way through which we can remember those things or the processes that are involved in it or some information that is provided through it. We'll look at an example for logical sequence of words. So the question is, arrange the following words in a meaningful sequence. Number 1, cow. Number 2, grass. Number 3, milk. Number 4, curd. Number 5, butter. The options in the answers are based on the numbers before the words. You may guess the answer. So the answer for this is option D, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It means cow, then grass, then milk, then curd, then butter. Let us look at the explanation for this. A cow feeds on grass, then it gives milk, and then from the milk curd is produced, and then from the curd butter is produced. So that's why it is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let us look into the eighth classification in logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, that is direction sense. So it is the ability to sense direction by using pen and paper or just by using the thoughts, by using the given instructions. So basically direction sense helps us to visualize the instructions that are given, that are perceived, and based on that the position or the angle or the direction of a thing or person could be determined. Some of the basic things that we need to know in direction sense is the directions. So basically there are 4 basic directions and 4 directions that are derived from those. The 4 basic directions are upper side, upwards is north, or downwards, lower side would be south, and left side would be west, and right side would be east. Usually north and south would be easily remembered. West and east could be remembered by remembering the word VWE. So next thing we need to know is the different angles or that are involved in directions. Basically the 4 basic angles we need to know is 0 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree and 270 degree. So 0 to 90 degree would be vertical or right angle. 0 to 180 degree would be a straight line, and 0 to 170 degree would be upside down of 90 degree. So 360 degree would be the complete angle. So we can remember these 4 angles, and based on that we can determine or draw or know various other angles approximately. So the third thing we need to know in direction sense is up, down, left, right, front or forward, and back or backward. So these also we need to know in performing well in the direction sense. Let us understand direction sense with an example. So a man walks 5 km towards south and then turns to the right After walking 3 kilometers, he turns to the left and walks 5 kilometers. Now in which direction is he from the starting place? This is the question. You can think through the answer. The answer for this is southwest. Let us look into the explanation for this. Supposing that the man is at position A, he walks downwards towards south for 5 kilometers and reaches position B, and then he turns to the right from position B, that is towards the western side, and then he walks 3 kilometers and reaches the point C, and again he turns to the left, that is towards south side downwards, and then he walks 5 kilometers and reaches position D. So now the man is at southwest direction from A, that is option D. Now we will move on to the ninth classification under logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, that is Venn diagrams. Venn diagrams use circles or other shapes to pictorially represent the commonality and differences, or even categorize different things in an orderly way using the sense of logic. Venn diagrams helps us to visualize the things and categorize different things and identify the common factors that are associated as well as the differences. Venn diagrams could be mutually independent, for example solid, liquid and gas. In this all the three are completely different from one another. Second, it could be categorized within, for example human body, hands and fingers. Hands are in human body, fingers are in hands, so one would be categorized into another. The third, it could be mutually dependent, for example musician, artist and dancer. Sometimes one person could act as musician as well as artist as well as dancer, or take two of the roles or only one role. Then it could be mutually independent and categorized within, for example eyes, nose and human body. So human body has the eyes and nose inside it. And then another example could be animals, cat, birds. So cat would be inside animals, whereas birds would be completely different from animals. Fifth, it could be mutually dependent and categorized within, for example science, physics and chemistry. So physics and chemistry are mutually dependent. Sometimes some of the aspects in physics comes under chemistry also, and both the subjects are classified within science. So sixth, it could be mutually dependent and independent, for example students, college and school. So college and school are different entities, whereas students play an important role both in school and college. We'll see an example for Venn diagrams. So the question is, which of the following diagrams indicates the best relation between factory, product and machinery? So there are four options here. Option A has three concentric circles, that is one circle inside another circle. Option B has three circles in which two are overlapping with each other. Option C has three different independent circles. Option D has two circles that are inside a bigger circle. The answer for this is option D, that is a bigger circle with two circles inside. Let us know the explanation for this. Both the product and machinery are different from each other. but both are found in the factory. Now we will see the 10th classification under logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, that is the verification of the truth of the statement. Though there are many things that are related and allied, everything is not the truth, and the truth could be found by applying logic and reason, and hence the verification of truth of the statement is very much essential. We may think about many things that we follow or that we are taught. So most of the things would not be based on facts, but just because something is related or something is being told for many times, it would have been practiced. So we need to think a little bit about what is essential, what is not, why it is followed, and what needs to be changed. We'll see an example for verification of truth of the statement. The question is, the train has which of the following? Option A, rails. Option B, driver. Option C, guard. Option D, engine. So the answer for this is option D, engine. If we could think about that, a train does not need rails, driver, guard always, but a train always needs engine to run. The 11th classification under logical reasoning, verbal reasoning is data sufficiency. Every time the questions or the explanations are not actually sufficient to arrive at a conclusion or make a learning complete. Hence, the sufficiency of data needs to be verified. Sometimes we don't really look into the questions well and just seek to the answers as well as we receive the questions. So we need to be little bit careful. Every question may not be a right one. So we have to think through that, and we have to check whether it is really worth to find an answer. We'll see an example for data sufficiency. The question is, what will be the total weight of 10 poles, each of the same weight? Statement 1. 1/4 of the weight of each pole is 5 kg. Statement 2. The total weight of 3 poles is 20 kg, more than the total weight of 2 poles. Option A, 1 alone is sufficient, while 2 alone is not sufficient. Option B, 2 alone is sufficient, while 1 alone is not sufficient. Option C, either 1 or 2 is sufficient. Option D, neither 1 nor 2 is sufficient. Option E, both 1 and 2 are sufficient. You may guess your answer. So the answer for this is option C, either 1 or 2 is sufficient. Look into the explanation for this. From 1, we conclude that weight of each pole is equal to 4 into 5 kilogram, that is 20 kilogram. So total weight of 10 poles would be 20 into 10 kilograms, that is 200 kilograms. And from 2 we can also conclude that weight of each pole is equal to weight of 3 poles minus weight of 2 poles, that is 20 kilograms. Now we will see the 12th classification in logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, that is coding-decoding. The information that is provided are sometimes secured, and even we need to secure some information for it to be safe. The understanding of the secured information involves decoding, and securing the information safely involves coding. Sometimes we have to keep the privacy passwords and keep certain documents in a safer way. For this we can use coding, and for identifying different things that are coded we can use decoding. Coding and decoding could be first letter replaced by another letter or symbol. So in this, a letter A or B or C so on could be replaced by another alphabet or some other different symbol. Second one is word replaced by another word or symbol, numbers with alphabets. So a word could be replaced by another set of letters or some other word, and it could be also sometimes symbols or numbers with alphabets. Third one is number replaced by another number or letter. So for coding purpose, a number could take a form of different number based on a logical order or sequence, or it could take the form of a letter based on some logic. Fourth one is jumbled letters of a word. The letters of a word are put here and there, mixed together. And the fifth one is relating two different words. That is it could be a word related to one another, or it could be words that are derived from another word. Let us see an example for coding and decoding. In a certain code language, A. Pitdarna means you are good. B. Tak Tokpa means good and bad. C. Tim Na Tok means they are bad. In that language, which word stands for they? The options are A. Na, B. Tok, C. Tim, D. Pit. We shall guess the answer. So the answer for this is option C. Tim. In this, the first and third statements have the common word na, which means are in English, and the second and third statement has common word tok, which means bad in English, and at last the third statement has the common word tim, which means they in English. The 13th classification in logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, is assertion and reason. Assertion is a declarative statement that emphasizes something and may need an evidence. Reason is the cause that lies behind an explanation through which a statement is validated. Most of the things that are declared have a valid root cause or reason behind that, and assertion and reason helps us to find out the reasons that are underlying before every declarative statement. Let us look at an example for assertion and reason. The question is, assertion A. Tamil Nadu gets most of the rainfall in winter. Reason R. Tamil Nadu gets rainfall from retreating monsoons. The options are A. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Option B. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Option C. A is true, but R is false. Option D. A is false, but R is true. Option E. Both A and R are false. You may guess the answer. So the answer for this is option B. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. The explanation for this is, Tamil Nadu usually gets highest rainfall in rainy season, whereas it gets retreating rainfall in winter season. But it is not the most of the rainfall of Tamil Nadu. Here are the references for logical reasoning, verbal reasoning part 2. You may go through the references that are listed here for further learning and further practice. Till then, we will meet for the next session. Thank you so much for joining.